night sky has always been a canvas of wonder. Each star whispers secrets older than time itself. For centuries, humans have lifted their eyes to the heavens. They searched for guidance, for meaning, for answers. But what if the cosmos was not silent at all? What if it carried wisdom, waiting to be heard? This is not a tale of battles or crowns of gold. It is a journey of listening, of reflection, of light. Athena, the goddess of wisdom, felt a call one night. It was not from Olympus, nor from mortal prayers. It was a hum, soft yet endless, from the fabric of space, the kind of sound that lives between heartbeats. Curiosity stirred within her immortal mind. She had studied scrolls, guided heroes, shaped thought. Yet this was a question larger than any temple. Athena stepped beyond marble halls and myths. She followed the current of stars across infinity. Each step carried her deeper into a silent mystery. The night grew vast, the constellations alive with voice. And so begins the story of Athena and the cosmic wisdom. The night was quiet, and the world slept under the blanket of stars. Athena stood alone on a hill, gazing upward with calm eyes. The breeze carried the scent of olive trees, her sacred gift to mortals. Yet her thoughts were not with the earth, but with the heavens above. There was a hum, faint but steady, weaving through the silence of night. It was not the cry of an owl, nor the whisper of the wind. It pulsed like a heartbeat, ancient and endless, born of the cosmos. Athena tilted her head, listening with the patience of eternity. For wisdom is not only in knowing, but in learning to hear the quiet. The hum grew clearer, threading itself through constellations of light. Each star seemed to flicker in rhythm, like voices forming a chorus. Her mind, sharp as ever, searched for meaning in the sound. Was this music of the spheres, the harmony philosophers spoke of? Or was it something more, a message carried across infinity? She closed her eyes, allowing the sound to enter her spirit. It was a vibration that touched not ears, but the soul itself. Images unfolded, threads of starlight, rivers of energy, endless cycles. The universe itself seemed alive, a breathing tapestry of wonder. Athena felt her heart stir not with pride, but with curiosity. Wisdom had always been her gift, her identity, her divine name. Yet even she, the goddess of wisdom, sensed a question unsolved. Could there be knowledge beyond Olympus, beyond divine thought? The hum answered not with clarity, but with invitation. It called her outward, beyond marble columns and sacred altars, beyond the myths sung by poets, the prayers of mortals. It asked her to step into a realm where silence spoke. Athena rose, her figure shining softly in the moonlight. Her spear and shield she left behind, for they were not needed. This was not a journey of battles, but of listening and seeking. She carried instead only her calm mind and searching spirit. The stars above brightened, as though lighting a path for her. Each constellation glimmered, forming a road across infinity. The hum grew louder, woven into the very fabric of space. She took her first step, and the earth beneath her faded away. The hill, the trees, the mortal world all dissolved like mist. What remained was a vast sea of stars, endless and alive. Athena walked not on ground, but upon the threads of light. They shimmered beneath her feet, delicate yet unbreakable. The cosmos itself became her guide, carrying her forward. She felt no fear, only the weight of something greater than self. Wisdom is humble before mystery, she reminded herself gently. The hum turned into many voices, soft and layered. They were not words, but echoes older than creation itself. They sang of beginnings and endings, of time's eternal dance. Athena listened, each note sinking deep into her soul. Her eyes reflected galaxies. Her heart mirrored the rhythm. She understood this was not knowledge to be possessed. It was not a scroll to be written, nor a lesson to command. It was an encounter, an invitation to join the cosmic choir. And so she walked on, further into the night without end. The stars bent closer, as if watching her with gentle eye. The hum surrounded her, now a melody of infinite threads. Each note whispered, "Wisdom begins when listening is true." Athena smiled, her heart open to the mystery ahead. The journey had begun, and the first lesson was silence. The stars glimmered, and Athena moved deeper into the sea of light. Each step carried her farther from Olympus and closer to mystery. The hum softened into a rhythm, like a heartbeat within the void. She knew this was not a sound meant for ears, but for spirit. Her thoughts stirred, sharp as blades, yet restless like shifting winds. For wisdom, she realized, was not the end, but the beginning of questions. What lies beyond knowledge, beyond memory, beyond the mind of gods? Athena paused, her eyes scanning galaxies that shone like jeweled rivers. She whispered softly, not to mortals, not to Olympus, but to the cosmos. Am I hearing truth, or only the echo of my own seeking? The starlight pulsed, not an answer, but an invitation once more. Questions rose within her, like sparks born of fire yet untamed. Why do stars burn so bright, only to fade into silence? What purpose lies in the endless cycle of birth and dissolution? If even immortals cannot grasp the whole, who can claim wisdom? The hum seemed to tremble, carrying her thought outward into eternity. It was as though the universe itself was asking in return. Wisdom, she realized, is not possession, but dialogue, a living exchange. To question is to open, and to open is to begin to see. The cosmos offered no single truth, only mirrors of reflection. One star dimmed, another flared, and patterns danced before her. Each flicker suggested that meaning is woven, not given whole. She understood then that answers are not stone, but shifting rivers. The goddess of wisdom felt both humbled and renewed in wonder. Her identity had always been forged in teaching, guiding, advising. But here she stood as the student, fragile before infinity. A gentle silence wrapped around her, more profound than words. It told her that wisdom does not demand, but listens first. That to seek is not weakness, but the essence of strength. Athena breathed deeply, her heart steady, her spirit awake. She felt her divine pride soften, replaced by curiosity's fire. Knowledge had always been her realm, yet this was beyond knowledge. This was the wisdom of being, of existence itself unfolding. The cosmos was not a riddle to solve, but a companion to hear. Its hum was the pulse of eternity, steady and vast. She remembered mortals who prayed for answers to their struggles. Kings asked for guidance, poets for inspiration, philosophers for truth. She had given counsel, but always within limits of form and time. Now she saw wisdom as not the scroll, but the space between lines. Not the answer itself, but the endless courage to ask again. The stars flickered once more, weaving shapes like ancient letters. They formed not words but questions, delicate and luminous. Athena reached her hand forward, her fingers brushing the light. It dissolved into ripples, carrying thought through unseen pathways. And she smiled, for in her heart she knew the truth. Wisdom is not a crown of certainty, but a cloak of seeking. She had begun to learn what it meant to ask beyond the gods. Her journey into the cosmic silence had just begun to unfold. And the hum whispered softly, "The question is the first step." The cosmos widened before her, stretching like an infinite river of light. Athena walked steadily, her gaze fixed on the shimmering horizon. The hum she had followed now deepened, layered with countless tones. It was no longer a single sound, but a gathering of voices. They wove together in harmony, like a choir beyond mortal measure. Each note seemed alive, carrying intention, carrying ancient memory. She paused, her heart opening, her mind sharpened by wonder. Ahead, the light began to change, bending into streams of color. Threads of gold, silver, and sapphire spilled across the vast expanse. They twisted and braided like rivers, flowing into a great convergence. Athena realized she had arrived at the source of the resonance. It was not a temple, not a throne, but a living tapestry. Light moved like water, yet held the firmness of woven cloth. The strands shimmered with hidden patterns, shifting as she watched. They formed constellations, then broke apart, then formed anew. It was knowledge made visible, a library written in starlight. She stepped closer, the threads responding to her presence. Some brightened, some curved gently toward her touch. Athena extended her hand, fingertips brushing against a silver strand. The hum resonated through her being, a wave of clarity. Suddenly she saw visions, not of war or triumph, but of creation. She saw a star being born, its light igniting the darkness. She saw it swell, burn, then collapse into quiet shadow. She saw planets form, seas rise, winds sing across new worlds. Every thread held a story, every light carried its own truth. The rivers of energy pulsed, showing birth, decay, and renewal. The goddess felt her breath steady, her thoughts soften in awe. Wisdom was not a single flame, but countless sparks interwoven. It was not an answer, but a pattern flowing forever forward. She whispered gently, "This is the gathering of light." Her voice was small, yet the tapestry seemed to respond. The strands shifted, weaving symbols like ancient marks of thought. Not words, but meanings, carried in silence deeper than language. Athena sensed they were showing her unity, the whole within parts. Each thread was fragile, yet together they formed eternity. She thought of mortals, of their lives brief yet full of meaning. Each life a spark, fleeting but vital in the cosmic weave. She thought of gods, their power vast yet bound by pride. Even immortality was but one color in the endless spectrum. The tapestry pulsed, as if agreeing with her reflections. Her heart swelled with reverence, not possession, but belonging. For she understood she was not outside the weave, but within it. Her wisdom, her name, her essence, all were threads like these. The thought humbled her, but it also gave her peace. For wisdom was not hers alone, but part of this vast whole. The rivers of starlight flowed, each carrying endless stories onward. Athena walked along their edge, tracing shapes with her eyes. She felt as though she could spend eternity here, only listening. Yet she knew this was not the end, only a beginning. The cosmos had shown her its gathering, but not its voice. The tapestry hummed, soft yet insistent, beckoning her forward. There was more to learn, more to receive, more to reflect. Athena bowed her head, whispering a vow of silence and respect. She would walk deeper, not to conquer, but to understand. The rivers of light widened, forming a gateway ahead. Colors shimmered like dawn, yet stretched into timeless infinity. She stepped forward, her spirit calm, her heart unafraid. The gathering of light had welcomed her, and her journey continued. The gateway of light opened, and Athena stepped into a deeper realm. Here, the silence was not empty, but alive with unseen presence. The hum she had followed now unfolded into a chorus of voices. They were not mortal voices, nor divine, but something beyond both. They resonated like echoes of creation, ancient yet ever-renewing. Athena paused, her eyes searching the vast horizon of shifting stars. The air itself vibrated, carrying the weight of eternal remembrance. She whispered, "Who speaks? What wisdom hides within this sound?" The answer did not come as words, but as layered harmonies. They wove into patterns, rising and falling like cosmic tides. Athena listened with patience, her heart open, her pride stilled. The voices grew clearer, and she began to understand their essence. They were not individuals, but fragments of something greater. Each voice a shard of the universe, a memory of existence. Together they formed the Council of Voices, the echoes of the cosmos. Athena bowed her head, not in worship, but in respect, for she felt she had entered a gathering older than Olympus. The council spoke through resonance, thought wrapped in sound. One voice murmured of beginnings, of light born from void. Another sang of endings, of silence that cradled every flame. Another whispered of cycles, of return and renewal without end. Athena heard them, and within her, understanding began to bloom. Wisdom was not one path, but countless voices interwoven. No god, no mortal, no star stood apart from this council. Every existence carried a note within the symphony of creation. She lifted her gaze, watching constellations shift into living patterns. The stars bent into forms, shaping faces woven of light. They were not fixed, but ever-changing, like thoughts in motion. Athena spoke gently, her voice steady yet reverent. "Tell me what it means to be wise among the cosmos." The voices responded, layered yet harmonious. To be wise is not to know all, but to hear all. To be wise is not to command, but to witness with humility. To be wise is not to hold truth, but to nurture questions. Athena felt the truth of their song press into her spirit. It was not doctrine, not decree, but living guidance. She remembered her halls of marble, her statues, her scrolls. All her wisdom had been bound in form, yet here it breathed free. The council sang again, this time softer, like wind through branches. "You, Athena, are not beyond us, but among us. Your wisdom is a thread in this eternal loom of voices. You are called not to rule knowledge, but to share its flame." Athena closed her eyes, the sound filling her like gentle water. She felt her essence expand, her mind reach new clarity. For the first time, she did not feel alone in wisdom. She was part of a greater council, eternal and infinite. The stars pulsed brighter, the voices humming in resonance. She whispered, "I will listen. I will carry your truth forward." The council did not answer in words, but in harmony. Their voices rose, forming a wave that lifted her spirit high. It was both silence and sound, emptiness and fullness together. Athena knew then she had entered not a hall, but a communion. The Council of Voices had welcomed her, and her journey deepened. She stepped further into the starlight, her heart steady, her mind awake. The cosmos watched, and the harmony lingered like an eternal flame. The voices faded into a softer hum, and the cosmos grew still. Athena felt the silence settle around her like a cloak of night. It was not heavy, not oppressive, but vast and living. She realized this was the first lesson the cosmos wished to give. Wisdom begins in silence, not in noise or in endless words. The Council of Voices had withdrawn, leaving her with the quiet. At first, the silence felt strange, almost like an emptiness. But as she stood within it, the silence began to change. It was not void, but fullness waiting to be noticed. She closed her eyes, breathing with the rhythm of eternity. Every inhale seemed to pull the stars closer, every exhale released them. Her thoughts, once sharp and restless, slowed into gentle ripples. Athena understood that silence is not absence, but presence. It holds the space where wisdom can take root and grow. Mortals feared silence, filling it with words, sounds, distractions. Even gods often spoke to hear their own voices echo. But the cosmos showed her that silence is the soil of clarity. Without it, wisdom is drowned by the noise of certainty. Athena listened deeper, not with ears, but with her entire being. In that silence, she felt connected to everything around her. The stars were no longer distant. They breathed with her breath. The rivers of light pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. She sensed the hidden lives of worlds unseen, quietly unfolding. Mountains growing, seas shifting, forests whispering, mortals dreaming. All of it was carried in silence, held without need of speech. She thought of philosophers who debated beneath olive trees. Their words had value, but often lost the wisdom of pause. She thought of kings who demanded answers without listening first. Their power crumbled because they never embraced stillness. Athena felt humbled, realizing she too had rushed to speak. Too often she offered guidance before waiting in silence. The cosmos was teaching her to listen, to wait, to breathe. A single moment of silence could reveal more than 1,000 words. She let her mind empty, her spirit open like a vessel. The silence deepened, and within it came subtle visions. She saw mortals pausing before decisions, their hearts uncertain. She saw them turning inward, seeking strength in quiet prayer. She saw poets waiting for words that rose only after stillness. And she realized the cosmos whispered through silence to them too. Athena's lips curved into a soft, knowing smile. The first lesson was simple, yet endless in depth. Silence was not retreat. It was power, patience, and wisdom itself. She spoke softly, her voice barely more than a breath. I will honor silence. I will listen before I guide. The stars shimmered in gentle approval, their light flickering calmly. The rivers of starlight slowed, flowing like serene streams. The council of voices remained quiet, letting her absorb the truth. For silence was not something to explain, but something to live. Athena bowed her head, grateful for the gift of stillness. Her spirit felt lighter, her thoughts clearer, her heart calm. She knew many more lessons waited, but this one would stay. Even among gods, silence would guide her path with clarity. She turned her gaze forward, where the tapestry of light expanded. The cosmos was ready to teach her more, but she would not rush. For wisdom grows slowly, nourished by patience and silence. She walked on, her footsteps light upon the woven starlight. The hum lingered behind her, a reminder of what she had learned. Athena carried silence within her now, a flame that needed no words. And the stars whispered in quiet harmony, blessing her journey ahead. Athena walked deeper into the flowing starlight, her mind calm, her spirit steady. The silence she carried within began to merge with the cosmos around her. Then, the silence shifted, and a gentle light rippled across the celestial sea. The stars bent together, forming a luminous thread that glowed like molten gold. It stretched endlessly, weaving patterns that danced like living constellations. Athena's eyes softened, for she knew this was the next lesson revealed. The thread of light shimmered, alive with stories beyond mortal imagination. She reached out, and the thread moved, wrapping softly around her hand. It was not heavy, but it carried the weight of connections unseen. Each strand pulsed with a rhythm, a heartbeat echoing through the cosmos. Athena whispered, This is the web that binds all things together. The cosmos answered with a faint vibration, like a harp string plucked. She saw faces appear within the light, mortal, divine, and even unknown. Farmers tilling soil, sailors steering ships, children laughing in starlit dreams. She saw gods speaking, guiding, and sometimes forgetting their own humility. And beyond them, she saw stars birthing, worlds growing, galaxies breathing. Every image connected, each life a knot upon the shining thread. Athena's breath deepened as she traced the woven path with her gaze. She understood that nothing existed apart. Everything touched everything else. A mortal's kindness could ripple outward, shaping futures never seen. A god's arrogance could cast shadows across centuries of mortal lives. Every choice sent echoes across the thread, weaving destiny and consequence. The cosmos whispered gently, its message clear without words. Wisdom is not only in silence, but in seeing the threads between. Athena felt the lesson press into her heart like sacred fire. She thought of heroes who fought not for themselves, but for others. Their strength lived on, not in statues, but in the lives they touched. She thought of poets whose words inspired nations to dream. Their verses still rippled through time, carried upon unseen threads. Even the smallest gesture, the briefest word, could shape eternity. Athena bowed her head, humbled by the vastness of connection. Her wisdom had once been sharp, a blade of clarity and logic. Now it softened, woven into compassion, held by the golden thread. She lifted her eyes to the stars and spoke quietly. I will remember the thread. I will honor the ties of all beings. The thread pulsed warmly, as though answering her vow. The constellations shifted, weaving themselves into new harmonious patterns. Athena watched as galaxies curved, aligning into a radiant tapestry. The design was infinite, yet every part belonged to the whole. She realized that wisdom was not separate knowledge, but shared existence. To ignore connection was to blind oneself to the truth of life. The stars pulsed again, showing her visions of balance and unity. She saw rivers joining oceans, forests sheltering countless creatures. She saw mortals forming bonds of family, friendship, and love. She saw even gods bound by oaths and shared destinies. All were threads, and none could exist without the others. Athena felt her heart soften, her voice a whisper of reverence. To know the thread is to know compassion, to live in harmony. The cosmos glowed brighter, confirming her understanding with silent light. She carried the lesson within, her spirit woven to the golden thread. The silence within her and the thread around her became one. She knew this would guide her, not only here, but forever. Her path stretched onward, but she no longer walked alone. The golden thread remained, tying her to all that was and would be. Athena stepped forward, her footsteps merging with the endless web of light. The stars hummed softly, carrying her into the next chapter of wisdom. Athena moved forward, the golden thread fading into the horizon of stars. The cosmos opened wider, revealing a shifting river of radiant light. It was not the thread of connection, but something deeper, more fluid. The river moved with rhythm, flowing like breath across eternity. Its currents carried sparks that shimmered with possibility and change. Athena stepped closer, her eyes reflecting the glow of transformation. The silence within her and the threads she carried remained steady. Yet here, the lesson seemed different, alive with constant movement. She whispered softly, "This is the river of change, of becoming." The river rippled in answer, carrying her voice into its currents. Athena leaned down and touched the luminous water with her hand. It was neither cold nor warm, but alive, shifting like memory. Visions burst forth, showing countless lives rising and falling like waves. Mortals grew, faltered, learned, and transformed through trials and dreams. Gods, too, were not unchanging, but shaped by their choices. Even the stars above lived, burned, and faded into new forms. The river showed her that nothing in existence was ever still. Every being carried within them the power to change and renew. Athena breathed deeply, humbled by the vision unfolding before her. Wisdom was not fixed knowledge, but the courage to transform. The cosmos whispered without words, its voice carried by the river. To resist change is to resist the truth of life itself. To embrace change is to embrace growth, even when uncertain. Athena's heart softened as she remembered mortal struggles. She had seen kings cling to power, fearing the loss of control. She had seen warriors resist peace, believing battle was their only path. She had seen poets silence themselves, doubting their words had meaning. All had suffered because they feared change and clung to what was. Yet the river showed her another way, a path of renewal. A fallen tree gave rise to a forest filled with life. A broken city rebuilt itself into a brighter, wiser home. A heart once wounded grew tender enough to love again. Change was not loss. It was rebirth in countless forms. Athena felt tears of understanding shimmer in her divine eyes. She whispered, "Wisdom is not only silence, not only connection. Wisdom is also change, the willingness to become more than before." The river pulsed, carrying her vow across the cosmos. Its waters lifted, surrounding her in spirals of glowing light. She felt herself expand, as though the river flowed through her. Memories of her own growth returned, sharp and humbling. She had once been a young goddess, eager for battles of wit. She had grown through guiding mortals, learning from their failures and hopes. Even she, eternal Athena, had changed more than she once knew. The river wrapped her in its embrace, then gently released her. Its glow dimmed, but its rhythm remained within her heartbeat. Athena straightened, her eyes bright with renewed clarity. She carried silence, she carried the golden thread, and now the river. Together they wove into her spirit, shaping wisdom beyond words. She turned her gaze forward, the cosmos shifting into new horizons. Galaxies curved like open hands, inviting her deeper into the journey. Athena whispered, "I will honor change. I will walk with its flow." The stars shimmered, their light dancing like ripples upon the river. The cosmos seemed to nod in quiet approval of her vow. Her path was long, but she no longer feared what lay ahead. For she knew that change was not her enemy, but her guide. She stepped forward, the river's glow fading but alive within her. And the stars sang softly, carrying her toward the next lesson. Athena stepped beyond the river of change, her spirit lighter yet deeper. The cosmos stretched wide, unveiling a boundless expanse of shimmering patterns. Each star moved with purpose, each galaxy turned like a vast wheel. The motion was not random. It was rhythm, order, and hidden harmony. Athena paused, sensing that this was the next lesson awaiting her. The silence within her, the golden thread, and the river pulsed together. They seemed to guide her toward the heart of this unfolding mystery. She whispered, "What is this rhythm? This order woven into the cosmos?" The stars shifted in answer, forming shapes that pulsed with music. It was not sound, yet she felt it as pure resonance. The cosmos sang, not with voices, but with balance and alignment. Every movement had meaning. Every orbit carried a deeper harmony. Athena closed her eyes, listening with more than her ears. The rhythm of galaxies became the rhythm of her own heart. It was steady, measured, yet filled with infinite variations. She understood that this was the lesson of balance. Wisdom was not only silence, not only connection, not only change. Wisdom was also balance, the harmony between all opposing forces. The cosmos whispered, its voice carried by the music of the stars. Balance is not stillness, but the dance of opposites in motion. To walk in wisdom is to honor both light and shadow. To know strength is also to know gentleness. To understand freedom is also to understand responsibility. Athena breathed deeply, letting the harmony enter her spirit. She thought of mortals, always struggling between extremes. Some chased ambition endlessly, forgetting peace and rest. Some clung to safety, fearing the growth found in risk. Others drowned in sorrow, unable to see joy standing near. The cosmos showed her how imbalance shaped their suffering. A farmer who hoarded grain watched his neighbors starve. A ruler who demanded obedience lost the loyalty of his people. A lover who gave all without self-care withered in silence. Balance was the path that kept the thread strong and the river clear. Athena lifted her gaze to the constellations above her. They swayed gently, each star aligned with another in perfect rhythm. She whispered, "Wisdom is balance, the harmony of all that seems opposed." The stars flared, confirming her vow with radiant bursts of light. Visions unfolded before her, born from the cosmic rhythm. She saw mortals learning to share, finding joy in giving and receiving. She saw leaders ruling with strength tempered by compassion. She saw artists blending sorrow and hope into songs of truth. Each vision carried the lesson of balance, woven into life itself. Athena felt a deep reverence rise within her chest. For even gods struggled with extremes, blinded by pride or desire. Yet balance was the quiet key, the bridge across every divide. The cosmos grew brighter, its rhythm lifting her higher into awareness. She felt the harmony vibrate through her veins, steady and eternal. The silence, the thread, the river, all of them rested in balance. Each lesson was not separate, but part of the greater whole. Athena bowed her head, speaking words of promise to the stars. "I will honor balance. I will walk the path between all extremes." The galaxies pulsed brighter, aligning into a radiant wheel of light. It turned slowly, echoing the eternal rhythm of the cosmos. Athena felt herself aligned with it, her spirit steady as the wheel. She stepped forward, carrying balance within her as a guiding flame. The cosmos shimmered, preparing to reveal the next truth along her path. Athena moved onward, her spirit carrying the silence, the thread, the river, and the balance. The cosmos seemed to shift, as if preparing to unveil a new dimension of wisdom. Before her stretched an endless field of light, not stars, but countless glowing spheres. They pulsed gently, each one distinct, yet connected by invisible threads of energy. Athena paused, realizing she had entered the domain of memory. These were not random lights, but records of every life, every thought, every choice. The cosmos whispered softly, "This is the library of existence." Athena stepped closer, her gaze drawn to the nearest sphere of light. Within it, she saw a mortal child laughing under a tree. In another sphere, a weary mother prayed for her child's safe return. A third revealed an old man sharing stories by the warmth of a fire. Each light carried a fragment of life, ordinary yet infinitely precious. Athena's breath caught as she understood the lesson before her. Wisdom was not only silence, connection, change, and balance. Wisdom was also memory, the reverence for what has been lived. The cosmos whispered again, "To honor the past is to guide the future." Athena closed her eyes, listening deeply to the murmurs of the lights. Each sphere sang softly, a chorus of countless voices across eternity. She felt their joy, their pain, their dreams, and their regrets. In them, she saw humanity not as fleeting, but eternal in memory. She thought of mortals who often ignored the past. Some forgot their ancestors, losing the roots of their strength. Others repeated mistakes, blind to lessons etched in history. Yet here was proof that nothing was ever truly lost. Every word, every act, every kindness lived on in the cosmos. Athena touched one sphere and saw a farmer teaching his son to plant. She touched another and saw a healer tending to the wounded with care. She touched a third and saw an artist painting light into darkness. The library glowed brighter as she honored each memory with her presence. The cosmos whispered, "Memory is the soil in which wisdom grows. Forget, and wisdom weakens. Remember, and wisdom thrives." Athena bowed her head, humbled by the infinite archive of existence. She thought of her own past, the choices that shaped her, the battles she avoided, the truths she spoke, the silence she kept. Even her smallest actions were preserved within this endless library. She realized that memory was not only mortal, it was divine as well. The gods themselves were recorded, their deeds etched among the lights. Her heart softened with reverence for all beings, mortal and immortal alike. For every life was a thread in the vast tapestry of existence. Athena whispered, "Wisdom is memory, honoring the past to guide the path ahead." The spheres shimmered, their voices rising into a celestial hymn. The song carried her upward, filling her with humility and grace. Visions blossomed within her, drawn from the library's infinite depth. She saw children learning from the tales of their ancestors. She saw nations healing old wounds by remembering shared roots. She saw artists carrying forward forgotten songs into new generations. Every vision showed memory as a bridge across time. Athena breathed deeply, letting the truth settle within her soul. Silence, connection, change, balance, and now memory. Each formed a pillar of wisdom. The cosmos glowed brighter, as if nodding in agreement with her vow. Athena whispered her promise. "I will honor memory. I will carry the past with reverence." The spheres pulsed together, radiating harmony across the infinite field. The library shimmered, folding its light into her heart as a gift. Athena stepped forward once more, carrying memory as her compass. The cosmos stirred gently, preparing the next truth on her journey. Athena stepped beyond the library of memory, her heart carrying echoes of all that had been. The cosmos glimmered, as though weaving a new path before her. She sensed the presence of another lesson waiting in the quiet vastness. The stars parted, revealing a horizon of pure light stretching endlessly. It shimmered not with memory, but with possibility. Every flicker in that horizon was a seed, a vision of what might be. Athena realized she had entered the domain of imagination. The cosmos whispered gently, "Here lives the power of creation." She gazed into the expanse and saw visions unfolding like blossoms. A child sketching pictures on the ground that became real landscapes. A poet whispering words that grew into living constellations. An inventor shaping tools that lifted entire villages into prosperity. Each vision pulsed with energy, not fixed, but waiting for choice. Athena's eyes widened with wonder, for imagination was boundless. It was the wellspring from which mortals and gods alike shaped reality. She whispered, "Wisdom is also imagination, the vision to see beyond what is." The light stirred, as if nodding in agreement with her words. Visions deepened, showing both the beauty and the danger of imagination. A leader who imagined peace built bridges across nations. But another, who imagined conquest, forged chains across the earth. Athena understood that imagination was a double-edged gift. It could heal or harm, uplift or destroy, depending on its guide. The cosmos whispered again. Imagination must walk with wisdom, or it loses its light. Athena felt the truth resonate deep within her. She thought of mortals who dreamed of progress, yet forgot compassion. She thought of artists who envisioned beauty, inspiring generations to hope. She thought of inventors whose creations shaped futures beyond their own lives. The horizon of light shimmered brighter, pulling her deeper into its glow. Athena reached out her hand and touched the stream of possibility. At once, she was flooded with visions of potential futures. She saw cities where knowledge was shared like water, free and abundant. She saw forests restored by human hands, working in reverence with nature. She saw children dreaming boldly, building worlds filled with harmony. But she also glimpsed futures of greed and unchecked power. She saw rivers poisoned, skies dimmed, and hearts hardened by fear. The weight of imagination pressed upon her, immense and endless. Yet within it was also beauty, the spark of creation itself. Athena breathed deeply, steadying herself in the brilliance of the horizon. She whispered, "To honor imagination is to guide it with wisdom." The cosmos pulsed with light, confirming her vow with radiant warmth. Visions shifted, showing mortals guided by this truth. She saw teachers encouraging children not only to dream, but to care. She saw leaders using vision to heal, not to dominate. She saw artists and thinkers weaving imagination with empathy and balance. Each vision burned into her, becoming part of her eternal memory. Athena bowed her head, humbled by the immensity of the gift. For imagination was not only divine, it was the birthright of every soul. She whispered, "Wisdom is imagination, the courage to shape futures with light." The horizon flared brilliantly, filling her spirit with creative fire. Athena felt new strength rising within her, gentle yet unbreakable. For now she carried silence, connection, change, balance, memory, and imagination. Each one a pillar, each one a flame guiding her steps. The cosmos shimmered, readying the next truth hidden in its infinite depths. Athena stepped forward, her heart radiant with the light of vision. The path of cosmic wisdom stretched onward, alive with possibility. Athena walked to the edge of the cosmos, carrying all the truths she had gathered. The silence, the thread, the river, the balance, the memory, the imagination. Each one burned within her, like a constellation, steady and eternal. The vast expanse before her shimmered, awaiting the final step of her journey. She paused, gazing back at the path she had traveled through the stars. Every vision, every lesson, every whisper of the cosmos remained alive within her. She understood now that wisdom was not a crown or a throne. Wisdom was a path, endless and unfolding, walked with humility and care. The cosmos pulsed gently, as if acknowledging her realization. She felt its rhythm enter her once more, steady as a heartbeat. The stars whispered together, "Athena, you have seen the threads of wisdom. You have listened to silence, honored memory, and embraced imagination. You have walked the river of change and the dance of balance. You have carried connection, and now you carry light." Athena bowed her head, her voice soft but unwavering. I will return these truths to the world of mortals. I will guide them not with commands, but with stories and symbols. For wisdom cannot be forced, it can only be invited. The cosmos brightened, the constellations flaring as if in blessing. Athena saw visions of mortals receiving these truths in their own ways. A child pausing to listen to the quiet between their breaths. A farmer planting seeds with patience, honoring the rhythm of balance. An artist painting not only what was, but what could be imagined. A teacher sharing stories so the past would not be forgotten. A leader pausing to choose compassion over pride. Each vision revealed wisdom blossoming, not imposed, but chosen. Athena's heart filled with reverence for humanity's resilience and potential. Even in struggle, even in error, the spark of wisdom could survive. She whispered, "The cosmos is not apart from them. It lives within them." Her words echoed softly, carried by the fabric of space itself. The cosmos replied, "So it is, and so it shall always be." Athena turned her gaze toward Earth, a blue jewel among stars. She felt its pulse, fragile yet strong, woven into the rhythm of infinity. The silence embraced her once more, but now it was not empty. It was full of memory, balance, imagination, and the breath of life. She stepped forward, leaving the cosmic expanse behind her. But she did not leave its wisdom, for it now lived within her. When she descended, mortals would not see her carrying galaxies. They would see a story, a symbol, a gentle reminder. Wisdom would come not as thunder, but as quiet light in their hearts. Athena smiled, for she understood this was the true gift, to awaken what was already within every soul that sought it. She whispered one final vow to the stars, clear and eternal. I will walk with them. I will remind them of the wisdom they already hold. The cosmos pulsed, radiant and infinite, as if answering her vow. The constellations aligned, a crown of light upon the horizon of night. Athena carried it not as a symbol of rule, but as a flame of guidance. Her journey had no end, for wisdom itself had no end. She stepped into the flow of time, her presence gentle, unseen yet enduring. And so the tale closes, yet the path of wisdom remains open. For in the silence of the night sky, the cosmos still whispers, and every soul, mortal or divine, may listen when they choose.